Yo, what's up, guys? This is my June update video. Um, Last time I kind of did it through a prompt and ChatGPT, but this time I'd rather talk about it and walk through it. So in June, we'll check out the record. I really didn't bet much in June because I was kind of taking it as a let's hold off on picks here, um, and just kind of study the study the picks and see if we can find trends. So June, nothing much. Really wasn't going for picks. We had a solid May, placing picks, but that was me kind of seeing what the model had and then doing my own research from the site and then making picks. So in June, I kind of wanted to just take a step back and see, all right, so what data can we pick up from the model? So that's kind of what I worked on most of June. So what I found, or what I did was, okay, let's start with just money line plays. So we got our money line plays. There's edges, so we'll take this game big on the under. Looks like we're a little heavier on Phillies than we are the market, so we'll just start there. Um, I wanted to see. All right, so basically, there's four types of ways a money line would work if you think about it. The first one is we have the same favorite as the Vegas, but our model is stronger than what Vegas has, if that makes sense. So let's say Vegas has a kind of exactly like this. So that would fall into this bucket. So that's option one. That our we have the same money line, but we are just heavier than Vegas is on it. And then option two is we have the same favorite as Vegas, but we're lower on the favorite than Vegas. So let me find an example of that. Right here. So we're on we're still on Seattle. We're just not as much on Seattle as Vegas is. So option one, we're aligned with Vegas. We're just heavier. We're aligned with the money line favorite. We're just higher on it. Option two, we're lower on it. Option three is we're exactly aligned with them on it. So let me find an example of where we have basically the exact same line as them. So right here, yeah, basically it's within the range, so it's in that third bucket where it's basically the exact same line. So that's option three. So it's either we have the same favorite, we are aligned with what Vegas has, or we flip it where we have the underdog Vegas has as the money line favorite. So those are the four buckets of bets that happen through a money line. So I went through the data um, and found some interesting stuff. So when we have this, and this data comes from May 17th onward. That's why May 17th was. That's when the model kind of entered its final phase. I really haven't updated the model much. The first few months I was making changes and whatnot, but from May 17th on, it's minor tweaks, but it's basically locked in from there. So a few things that stood out was, so this is the first bucket, which is we have the same favorite, the model's just stronger. So we're 62 and 45, but down minus 1.7 units. And that comes from when you're betting money line favorites and a minus 300 loses, that just will fuck up your units. No one really plays minus 260 straight up. So that's why we go a little in depth. So let's just take a gap of 10 to 19. So that means if Vegas has minus 130 and we have minus 145, how does our I guess how would the money line favorite do? So on those plays, we're looking pretty good. We'd be up 7.5 units. As you can see, when the gap gets bigger, it's even if you're 9 and 8, you're still down 3 units. So And then I thought this was interesting. When we're aligned with Vegas, we're up 7.4 units, which is pretty crazy and kind of a different philosophy than what I initially had, where I would look at, let's see, like right here, I would be like, okay, yeah, we're on to something. We're way heavier on Tampa Bay today than Vegas. So I would say, okay, that's locked in. But then I was like, hold on, let me make sure and see what bucket that would fall into. So if it's 124, 199, that would be the camp of we're on the same, but we're just heavier on it. And since it's 124, 199, if you click here, it'll show that the model's stronger in this bucket, and we're on these type of plays, we're up 1 unit. So I hope this is making sense. I'm trying to clean it up. I'll actually show how I'm going to try to clean that up in a bit. But that's kind of what I try to do. Let me see. There's another pretty interesting trend I found right here. So if we have the same favorite, if we're in that bucket too where we have the same favorite, but we're just less on that money line team. So take Vegas has minus 150 and we have minus 120. It would fall into this camp. And there's one kind of wild find I had. So this would be, yeah, right here. So if it's a solid favorite, meaning that Vegas has the line at 131 through 160, and our model comes in lighter than that, and lighter is by like, what would it be, like 14 points, meaning like, so if it's 135 for Vegas and we have minus 118, it would fall into the model being lighter. And it's kind of crazy right here because the dog actually wins in these games 56% of the time. So if we bet the favorites in these instances, we would be down 18 units. But if we bet the underdog in those situations, we'd be up 10 units. So I thought that was pretty interesting that when we're still in the same favorite as Vegas, but our model just has it closer to a pick'em, those games tend to, the underdog actually wins outright 56% of the time. So this is kind of what I've been working on is, and again, this is from May 17th, so we have a shit ton of more data to collect. This is 48 games worth of data. So, 10 units on 48 games is pretty good. I'll take that. And then heavy favorites, it makes sense that if the model's stronger than what Vegas has, and if it's a minus 161 line, you're going to be down. And it's actually interesting that the underdog wins those 52% of the time. But I think that's more noise than anything else. But you're never betting minus 161 favorites, hopefully, or like a minus 200 favorite. I would hope not. What I try to do is just set up a. So let's just take one game, for example. Let's see. What's a fun one here? I'll just pick a random one. We'll go. All right, we got a solid pitching matchup here. That's going to be a sick game. So we're. The Miz is just on another planet, so we have them 298, 207. So that would fall in the camp of we're on the same money line but heavier. But those bets straight up actually are down quite a bit of units on the year because that means you'd have to bet $298 or $207 to win only 100. So if that loses, you lost double your money basically of what you would gain. So it almost says you should bet the dog in this situation. But again, this data is not the go against the model. It's still picking up data, if that makes sense. We're trying to kind of have this as a secondary market outlook versus what the model actually does. And what the site's going to do is it's actually going to give you an opportunity to just see everything. So the next step is going to be working on the over-unders, having that same sort of matrix where you can check it out. We're kind of working on it, but I still want to get more info on that. But so you can let's just take this game. So all right, we got like I said, we're heavier on the Phillies than Vegas is, not by too much, but we just have them a little more of a favorite. So if you click here, okay, so the model's stronger, and when it's in these situations, we're actually up 6 units. So that's a solid play in my book, just based off of that. But then what you can do is, I mean, this is cool, but the website's designed to actually do your own research. So you can go into it. We got a full game write-up. So you get all the information you need from the game. And it'll show the play, why we like the play. And then if you go into game details, you just, all the shit you really need is right here. You get the projected scores, you get the weather, you get the starting pitchers, you get their full game logs, how they've done versus that pitcher in the past, splits, so it shows how they hit versus righties because they're both right-handed pitchers, career and in 2026. Shows how they've done in their last 10 games. So if you're more into kind of writing trends, like this guy's humming right now. I mean, damn, yeah, Pittsburgh's balling right now based on their last 10 games. So if you're more into like, well, you know, the model likes Philly, the trend says Philly, but I'm more of a how's that team done in the last 10 games? I mean, they, you know, you can make a case that Pittsburgh's just balling right now. And you show the season stats. We'll have the matchup grid, basically their runs per game, their strikeout percentages, their RC pluses, how they rank up against the rest of the league, and then you have bullpens. So Phillies are the best bullpen in baseball right now. Shows the bullpen status, who's available, and then if you're more on the trend side, so Pittsburgh at home, that's actually kind of crazy. 30-15 on the over/under. It is in Philly. It looks the over only hits in 37% of Philly home games. Here it shows last 10, so I mean this checks out right here based on what we were showing with the last 10 for Pittsburgh, but it looks like their pitching's been ass too, so they're only 5-5. Phillies are putting it together. They're scoring at a high rate too. Injury report, the last time these teams have played each other, and just a little scouting report. So that's kind of a breakdown of the slate. We also have line movement showing where the lines move throughout the day. So that's kind of what I've been trying to build. I'm trying to build like a full-on system where you can do your own research, but also, you know, see where the model actually finds edges. So right here, I would just based off this, I'd be like, okay, looks like we're leaning Philly. Let's see what the history says. So in 40 games where this situation's happened, we're up 6 units. Okay, and then I did my research through the info tab, and I mean Pittsburgh's hitting hot, but looks like their pitching's been ass, and their bullpen's not very good, and then the starting pitchers look pretty similar. So, and then if we just look at Phillies, Pittsburgh actually they have the better offense, surprisingly. But based on all that, I'd be like, okay, that's a good Philly money line play. -130, we'll take that. So that's a breakdown of basically what I've been building in June. I'll try to make it look cleaner because like B1 gap 21 just doesn't really make sense. This is kind of all over the place. It's just a lot of information. So here, what I'll do now is I try to clean it up, and I want to use the Claude Web Agent to help me clean it up. So I went into Claude here, and I basically told them that I need a web agent prompt because I said what we added in June, and I said it's good info, but it's just kind of all over the place and a little confusing. So I said just give the web agent a task and let it do its work. So it looks like it gave me a task here. I'm gonna copy and paste that. You open up the web agent here. Let's throw it in here. Looks good to me. We'll approve it. And then it does some trippy shit where just, I don't know how this shit works, man, but it goes into the website and we gave it its role. We want to clean up the Moneyline analytics section and the kind of the pop-up B1 Gap 21, which just kind of looks dumb and doesn't really make sense to someone viewing this for the first time. So now it's doing this work by itself. Kind of crazy. So it takes about 5 minutes. What I'll do is it's going to give me feedback. And what I'll do with that feedback is I'll first review it and make sure I'm down with what it's telling me to change and update. And then it'll give me a task for it to give to the developer. And this is all run through Claude. So in the terminal, I opened up Claude. And what I'll do is just copy and paste the enhancements basically to the site. It'll update. I can either check myself if it looks good, or I can tell the web agent the changes you requested have been done. Can you please review? And basically that's how we got this whole website up and running. So for July, I'm going to keep monitoring. Maybe I'll try to add more plays based on doing all the research I kind of and the whole workflow I went through. I've also been working a lot on. Here, let me reopen this shit. What I've been working on a lot is the player props section too. So in July, I want to kind of get this more dialed in as well. So we have this is more for like prize picks or just straight up player props. So it just shows it shows the top 5 players tonight. So no shocker, Ohtani's at the top. He's got a perfect score of 18. And when you go into it, it's kind of like how prize picks will be, show this. Then you get a deeper breakdown of where this PSS 18 came from. Hitter's Park, home run, fastball, lean, above average contact, and then it goes into what the pitcher does, what kind of pitches he throws versus the hitter. So, I mean, for the most part, Ohtani's always going to be a recommended play, but looks like today it's given extra reasons why. Should be. Let's see. We just got all our props. Which will just kind of show our top 10 plays and then just every single play from the day. And that's a lot. It's like 3,000, so it takes a while, but not really. It's all automated, so it's got a good workflow to it. And we got our prize picks where we'll just kind of give out slips. Do just like a 6-legger. And then we'll have 3-leggers. We'll have a full goblin play, full demon play. And it's actually been pretty successful. In June, a lot of winning legs. I need to figure out how to see, like, okay, how is 3-legger A? So that's usually going to be about a 5x payout. How on these? What was our record in June? And that should be easy to find. That's kind of what I'm working on next. Go here. You already did all this stuff. Information. Okay, so what I'll do is review this, see what the next steps are, and then whatever changes it makes, I just say, give me the code to give to the terminal, and then boom, that's kind of the workflow. So, kind of a long, in-depth video. I appreciate if you made it this far. Please let me know in the comments if there's any other type of breakdowns or videos you want to see, any type of plays that you would be interested in riding with, and please like and subscribe because we're here for the long haul. I'm trying to go live with this, but I'm not trying to rush anything yet until we're actually dialed in and making money for people. So thank you so much, appreciate it, and let's go.